like pain?
On others.
The idea is to cause pain and not really cause injury. So you use restraint. We don't want to injure anybody. But we will have some pain today. You'll feel some pain. We work pressure points. No matter what style you are, we don't ask that. I don't worry about your style, your rank. We just worry about teaching you pressure points all over the human body. When you get involved in pressure point study, you'll never know it all. I've been doing this for over 25 years, been all over the world, and I'm still learning. Been learning for 25 years. I teach 361 pressure points all over the human body. That we have really good. But the combinations that take place between them, you'll be making up your own techniques. It goes off into infinity. If I do a pressure point on this arm and hit him over here, I get a result. If I hit him here, hit him up here, I get a different result. If I hit him here, down here, I get a different result. If I hit him here, go to the leg, different result. Well, we can mix and match all day long, and the rest of your life, you'll never have the answers. I go out and I do seminars. I've been to 25 different countries, and now that I've been teaching it for that many years, actually, 25 years, I go out and the people go, well, look, I developed a knockout by touching here and hitting here. I know the technique's for real. It's going to work because it's following the principle, the cycle of destruction of the human body. There's a cycle for healing. There's even a knockout cycle, and there's a cycle of destruction. We teach the pressure points. As you get into pressure points, people worry, and if they don't want to study them, they try to say they're too little. Too little to do because an acupuncturist puts a needle. Well, that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about what we call the area of activation. Area of activation is, what coin do you have that's that big? 1p?
50.
How many?
50.
Yeah, 50 what? Pence. 50 pence. 50 pence. Every time I go to another country, it's a different coin. When I'm home, it's a quarter. But anyway, you have this much area of activation. If I take 361 coins all over this man's body, you mean I can't get to those in a fight situation? You bet I can. And so can you. You just got to know the way they go, the angle they get hit on. Every pressure point needs a different maybe angle and direction. That's what we try to teach you. You don't just hit them straight on. In fact, almost none of the pressure points in the human body are activated straight on. That's why we don't find them in boxing or hitting each other. It is the oddest moves that you will learn to do as a martial artist that will actually be the most dangerous. And that's how it works. When you get involved in pressure points, one pressure point will cause pain. Two will cause the pain to meet in the middle. Three, cause the person to pass out. Four, if you direct all four to one given organ, can mess up or stop that organ. But you have to be trained to do that. You'd have to be on the liver meridian, and you'd have to aim 4 pressure points straight on into the liver to shut down the liver. And same with the kidney or etc. So you're not going to quite do it by accident, believe me. But the 1, 2, 3 is easy. 1 causes pain right at the spot. 2 cause pain, no, to meet here. The pain will be twice in the middle. When we jump from doing pressure points on this arm over this leg, I usually allow time to go between. Because if you're doing this arm and kick this leg, the middle's in the stomach region and people can get sick to the stomach. Especially if it's after lunch or they just ate or they have a soda or bubbly in them. They want to double over with cramps and you haven't touched their stomach. So that's the only caution that we use. That we don't like to crisscross the head, and we don't do anything to crisscross the heart. So everything else is free game. Pressure points require a different area of activation. I have a medical study that I've done. I started out at the University of Virginia Medical School, dissecting human bodies side by side with surgeons, doctors, and finding what I was after. 1972, I was lucky enough to be with a man named Hohan Soken. Hohan Soken left me notes on this. gave four of his highest people at that time, notes on how to do it and what to do and where to find it. Those notes took studying. That was in 1972. I then started a medical study to find out why this works, how it works, what we're doing to the human body. Some of that medical studies in the book that I was autographing with some of you, called my Humane Pressure Point Self-Defense book. We have the medical study printed in there. So if you have that book, you'll be able to read about the medical study. I also have a videotape of a medical study that we did at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States, and that was with the University of Pennsylvania Medical School, where they wired people up, and they were actually amazed that I could turn on several of the organs of the human body and turn them off like a light switch. Just like a light switch. I shut down the kidney, flatlined it, started it back up. And the doctors were just totally amazed. We had another study, you might have heard about it at my 60th birthday. We had doctors, nurses there, and we did a medical study of that. Was anybody lucky enough to see that tape? Good. Good, because they released it. Did you see it? Who raised their hand? Did you see that? How many people seen that? Anybody see that? Good. Well, look at it. Scary. It's too scary. I didn't want to release it. Some people went and released it on their own because I let them film it, and I didn't want to be making copies for everybody else. And I'd let people film, and if they're filming, good, but I don't want you out there selling my tapes. But anyway, they started doing that. And it is scary because on that I actually killed 3 people. And when I say killed, they were flatlined. The doctors were there. Everybody was there. Those tapes, everything that study was put into computers. People have flown in from Australia to study those tapes because I shut down the human body and started it back up. But it's quite scary because there was 2 people that almost didn't start back up. It was a real scary situation. That's why I didn't want to release the tapes. Shut down the body, but had a hard time getting it back. Am I right? Did you see that tape?
Is it the one in the Canadian Institute?
Huh?
Is it the one in the Canadian Institute?
No, the Canadian one. No, this one.
That's the one I'm saying.
No, this would have been in Indianapolis, Indiana, at night when I was 60 years old.
2002.
And huh?
2002.
Yeah, 2002.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there for it. Yeah, it's a scary situation. Yeah, it's scary. So I don't get into doing too much of that anymore. But in that case, we had doctors there, we had nurses there. They were wired up. Everything was monitored. But when it went flatline, it got a little scary. We have a 65th birthday party planned with Paul Bowman down in London. If you can all make it, we're going to do this. We're going to train for 3 days, and Saturday night have a big party. I'll be 65 next year, not this year. This year I'm 64, but next year I'll be 65. So November of next year, if you remember, we're going to have a big venue for 3 solid days down in London. We will train Friday, we'll train Saturday, we'll train Sunday, and everything that you like today, you'll be able to get 3 days of it. So that's the advantage to come in 3 days. You can actually learn a lot. You can learn a lot.
It's the 16th, 17th, and 18th next year.
Of November.
Of November next year. There is next year. There is some leaflets here to take when you go. So
You don't say where it's at yet because he's sorting out a place right now.
But it'll probably be in Watford.
Okay, now what makes a pressure point a pressure point? It's a place where a nerve ends in the skin. It's a place where 2 nerves cross. It's a place where a nerve does the letter Y. So we have a Y, we have a nerve, 2 nerves crossing, we have an ending. We never use, well I can't say never, but mostly the nerve itself is not a pressure point, but it's where it branches, or where they cross, or where a nerve ends. Nerves have receptors. You have receptors in the human body. They're monitoring this room. They're monitoring the hot and the cold, and if it's a little cool, your body will turn on the heat. If it's a little too hot in here, you'll sweat. Those are receptors that monitor your body. You have millions of these all over. We trick these receptors. When it gets into the pressure points, some of the receptors only need touch. That's the amazing ones, because there's some on the human body you can just touch and put the person in pain. Not hit, not rub, you just touch, and you're doing something to the human body. There are some pressure points that you need a rubbing action. And you can't hit it, you're not going to activate it. And there's some pressure points that need a hit. When it needs a hit, it only needs the hit of a 7-year-old child. When I first got into this, and Hohan Soken mentioned to me that you only need the strength of a 7-year-old. I went back to my kids' class and I had all the kids that were 5 punch, and all the kids that were 6, and all the kids that were 7, all the kids that were 8, and I was studying the difference in how hard they can punch. Because I had to mild it down a little bit. I came from the old school where the harder I hit you, the better. And I had to pull my punches back, not pull them, but just you get a feeling, a control that you just hit it at the right pressure, and down they go. So that's all that's needed. You don't need a lot of spray. In a lot of the Orient, I just got back from China. I was over in China for 2 weeks. I was at the Shaolin Temple, and I had meetings with the highest man there, the head Buddhist monk. In fact, he's thinking of coming to the United States and teaching in our place for, he's coming over for 30 days, and we're going to tour him around and have several 3-day camps with the head monk from the Shaolin Temple. Shaolin Temple is a 4,600-year-old training facility. When you go there, it's like a martial artist's dream. It's like you died and went to heaven as a martial artist, because everybody's doing the martial arts everywhere. If this were the Shaolin Temple and you looked out that window, there'd be literally 1,000 people up there punching and kicking. And you look out that window, there'd be a different 1,000. They're everywhere. There's 10,000 people at all hours of the day and night doing weapons, punching and kicking and jumping. So they're really gung-ho. Sand pits. Had them in sand pits, fighting full contact. It's all over the place. So, but anyway, I was over there and I studied, just thought I'd tell you that. And so we get into the pressure points. Everybody hold up your right arm. Take your left hand, go like this, and go right to here. Go right to here. Go like this. And everybody say 2. 2. Everybody go to here and say 4. 4. Everybody go right up to here and say 6. 6. Right like this. 2, 4, 6. These are the ones we're going to start out with. They're on the inside here. There's never a pressure point on a bone. There's never a pressure point up on a muscle. There's a pressure point in between the muscle. There's a pressure point at the end of the muscle. It monitors the attachment of that muscle, tendon and radial nerve. So right there is a nice pressure point. But just so you know, we do this. If you're up on the bone, no good. Point like that at this small bone, just above the wrist. There's never a pressure point at the joint. Never at the joint. So when I say technique today, don't go to the joint. Go just a little bit past it. Right here. And aim down that way. If you're aimed that way, you got the wrong direction already. You got to aim down that way. It's under there, and the direction is that way. If you're out here pointing like this, you're incorrect. Right here is a little Y, a branch to the ulnar nerve. When you touch it, it actually starts to compress, and your wrist is thinking you're going to have a pinched nerve, so it releases your wrist. This is a touch pressure point. It's right here. We're going to give you a touch, a rub, and a hit, then we're going to jump all over the place. So let me use you. Anybody use you? Over here. See? Make a nice tight fist for me. Don't let me bend your wrist. Okay, strong. Strong, strong. There you go. You're not going to bend that wrist. But right under here is the pressure point. You only have to touch. And then you release the wrist, and there was a little pain. I've got to tell you about that. That's why I go now. But anyways, he was reading pinched nerve. So what happens is, make a fist. When you try to bend somebody's wrist, it's going to be very difficult to do. But when you touch that pressure point, it's that simple. You only have to touch it. You have control of your opponent's wrist. Pressure points need taught by everyone to everyone. When I started doing this, we went into a school. It was a large commercial school in Newark, Delaware, over in my country. The guy has 1,000-some students. One of the black belt women was there, and they were working on getting out of a technique. And I went in with the instructor. I said, "You got to do pressure." Why? He said, I said, "That black belt there can't get out of that technique." He said, "Well, she's getting out of it." Well, the guy's going along with it. He grabbed me. That go along with it. This is what they were doing. I said, I said to the instructor, I said, I want that guy to grab and not let go. And I taught her this pressure point. If you know that pressure point properly, within 1 second, you're out of the technique. because once you touch here, you have him out of the technique. I can sprain that wrist, break it, or just continue to put him down with that same pressure point. So that's the importance of pressure points. Somebody like that grabs you for real in the street, and you grab him anywhere else. And this is what that lady was doing when they said, hold on, you're going to lose confidence in your technique. I don't care how long you teach that child. I don't care how long you teach this lady. If she's grabbed now for real, that person's not going to go along with it, and she's going to lose confidence in all of her martial arts if she goes like this, and all of a sudden she runs into all this muscle. Because nobody told her to touch right here. This child can touch right here and release that wrist. Strength has nothing to do with it. It has to do with this pressure point, and all we need to do is get it to here. That's all we need to do. What you're going to do is pair off. I don't want you talking loud. There's too many people in this room. I want you to whisper to each other. But you can try this one first. This is the most difficult way to release it. This is the easiest way when he grabs me. Just the minute he grabs me, he stretches his own nerve. You cannot grab somebody. Everybody reach out and just do that. And you'll feel the nerve pulling in your own arm. So it makes the technique easier for me to do. This is the most difficult way to bend the wrist. So you're going to take the person here. You're going to hold the fist. You're going to touch underneath. You're going to push up a little bit. This is called torque. If you're reading my first book, torque means to go a little bit before the point and slide into it so that you cannot lose him in a grappling situation. If you go straight to the point and he tries to wrestle out of it, skin moves. If you're up front, you'll see the skin moving. So we take up the slack in the skin before we go after a pressure point. Do you understand that? Yes. So what I want you to do is get him and stand like that. Put his right hand down, hold it like that with your left. I want you to make a fist. This can't be soft. This has to be firm. I want you to use this bone, and push it up under a small bone. Be 1/2 inch away from here. Right there. Push up with this, push down with that. And go right in at the wrist joint. Then this finger will go right to the point. Everybody understand that? Because that's what this finger is for. This is your energy finger. It's going to reach around. This is not driver assistance. This is for that. So when he grabs, hold tight. You go here. Put these two around. Now this one should curl underneath the bone. And you're right on the point. You have a whole 50p in this area that you can't go wrong. Some of you are like up here though, you're wrong. You need to be in this area. But if somebody grabs you, hold tight, you go in here like that. Oh, and create a base. Take them to your body. If we do techniques today, you gotta have a base so they can get out of it. If I'm doing a finger lock with you, I gotta have this hand as a base. I gotta have a base. If I try to horseshoe or bend metal, we put an anvil down, we put that down, we hit it against it. We don't hold it up here, and then it is not a little half. Same thing through here. When you grab anybody in any technique today, you get a base. We use our body as a base. We use a cat stance as a base. If I'm working on taking somebody down with two hands, I let the cat stance meet that. So you'll see me lock it in with the cat stance, and then he cannot get away. You need a base. And then you have something to really put the paint on it with. So you want a base, a base. In this particular technique, they grab you. Now some of you here, hold tight. Some of you here are going to want to do this one. I've said every seminar, I don't want that. I want the shortest distance from where he grabbed you to your base. I don't want you coming over to here, up to here. So if he grabs you, I don't want any of this. He would have already hit you with that hand. People intend to hit you with the other hand when they grab you. They're not grabbing you with one hand for fun. They grab you with one hand, they're going to do something with the other hand. When you slip over and come to here, the base has his other hand out of the way, and you have control of the situation, and you can run a knee into a floating rib, or you can punch him, you can knee him in gallbladder 31, or you can just be nasty and throw it on his foot and drop it. There's a pressure point down there too. We'll get into that as we go. a rub point. What you're going to do, the pressure points on the small bone side of the arm, control your opponent's wrist. Got that? So anything we do out here, control the wrist. Anything we do on the large bone side, controls his fist. But we use those to open the fist. This is a rub point. We had a touch. You're now going to take these knuckles, like you knock on a door, go inside. If you're rubbing up here, you're incorrect. You want to rub in here. If he has a fist, and you rub, this will just make the fist go limp. So when he grabs you, you just go right to here, and you just release it, just that quick. That quick. Now, all you have to do is take these knuckles. You got to be inside the large bone and rub up and down. Do not rub this way. Do not. We want to send a message on the nerve. This will just stop the message about here. Actually, the harder and the faster we rub, the further the message goes up his arm. And the quicker you do it, bang, you want to close on it. If you're doing self-defense, if somebody grabs you, you do not want to teach women and children or whatever, hold me tight, that they can get out by the thumbs. Because I got a lot of money, I'll bet that the biggest guy here can grab the smallest child here, and the child cannot get out by the thumbs, and neither can the woman. And neither can the small man. It'd be like a tug of war, trying to get out of it. He holds tight, I mean real tight, give me some, and I try to get out. I get out by the thumbs, but I'm pretty big and strong. But you don't teach people to do that. First of all, you don't teach any self-defense where you get out of a hole and you have to come back towards your body. This guy's bigger, younger, stronger than me. Faster. Faster than a speeding bullet. But what we want to do is always get out going towards our opponent. I can't pull out of this situation like this. I'm back at square one, and he might be a real good fighter. And now I'm here and he's here, but it's starting all over. Once he touched you, he's occupied those hands. Let's keep him there. So he grabs you, you just come over here like this, he can't do a thing about it, and you're in control of the situation. So you never pull out, you go to here, and you rub. You're out of it. Bang, you attack that direction. You come out coming towards him with that technique. Some of you, if you're little and strong, you might have difficulty doing that with him, but we're going to then next do a point that you won't have difficulty, which is up here. But let's play with this one now, because I want everybody to know it, every one. You don't have to, and you won't do all the points. You won't do all the points, but you have to know how they work, because we will use them at other times in combinations. I will teach you to do something to this point while you do something somewhere else to the human body, and then you have to know how to do the point. So if you got a guy with a big strong wrist and he doesn't feel that, the nerves in there is just deeper. But then that one is going to take him out. So that's the one we're going to go to next. But right now we're down here. It's a rub point and you're going down. It's that simple. It's easy to find as long as you're not up on the bone. So what you're going to have everybody do is going to grab everybody like that. You're going to take this and you're going to go in here. If you can sneak this knuckle in the hole, better yet. And now just go like that. They can't hold on because that releases their fist. It's that simple. It makes their fist do this. That's what I like the best about the martial arts. People say, what do you like the best about the martial arts? I like the self-defense, but I like the longevity. If you're doing it right, you're doing the breathing right, you're eating right, and you're doing your training. I'm 64, I'm really fast. I can be faster yet if I have to be. Put me under a speed gun and I did a television thing back in the States, and I hit somebody 21 times in 3.5 seconds. And all accurate, right on the counter on TV. Last night we shot 50 minutes for BBC. They say it might be on about 2 weeks, documentary on the martial arts. If they do show it, they watch it, we knocked a whole bunch of people out, so we might have scared the daylights out of them. And we were in tuxedos. So you would way different than anything you've ever seen. We were at a forum, and we were all in tuxedos. And it was the Combat Magazine, the Hall of Fame, and they gave me an award. They gave Mr. Bowman an award. And Mr. Bowman and Keith they have them over here on display, I think, do they? Yeah, I don't have mine on display because I actually have packed my luggage and wrapped it. So when I go home, it's protected. So, and he said, you want to bring it to display? It's out in the car and it's in the bottom of all my luggage. So look at theirs. Mine's similar. Mine's bigger though.
That's right.
But anyway, yeah, so we were shooting the Hall of Fame Awards, and the guy from the owner of Combat Magazine, BBC, wanted to film some, and he just goes, well, these people knock people out, they do this, and they said, we want to see you. Now we're in tuxedo. And actually, my mind hit that quick, because the very first demonstration, I seen Bruce Lee, out of that, his very first demonstration, he was asked to do a demonstration for television, which wound up getting him into the Green Hornet, etc. But he was in a suit when he did it. He said, I don't have my martial arts suit, but this is the way I would fight if I was attacked in the street. And he did a full-on demonstration in a suit, and that was in 1966. And that impressed me, because he didn't put on a gi, he didn't belt, he's just in his clothes, and all of a sudden he's lacing his foot all over somebody's body. And doing this one-handed punch and everything with the suit on. So we did a full-on series of demonstrations last night in full tuxedos. Yeah, suspenders popping as we hit them. The pressure points are the easiest way for you to do any situation. I don't care if you're a ground grappler, we get into that, anything you want to do. If you do something to somebody else, and I have you this close to a point, I can move you here, it's going to hurt him more and make it easier for you. That's what it's about. They're the easiest way to get out of a self-defense situation. And they're the easiest way to put some pain, because you want to enter the pain right into the nerve. And when that nerve has pain, they cannot hit you with the other hand. That's at the end of my book, called cross-extensor reflex action. Cross-extensor reflex action means if there's serious pain in this arm, let me use you. If I just take one pressure point right here and put a lock on it, if he wants to, people do wrist locks. They do joint locks. Joint locks don't work in a guy this big. He can really resist them. He was going to go along with it, which was nice. But if I really try to do this, he can resist that. And as I'm trying to do that, just tap my shoulder. Take that hand, tap, 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 tap. He can tap my shoulder. But if I do this, he can't tap my shoulder, because I don't do a wrist lock. I do a pressure point release of the joint, and then I can break or sprain the joint from that point on. So we don't do a wrist lock. So anything that you hear will not be a joint lock. We do a pressure point that releases the joint, and when that's happening, they can't get the other hand after you. If I just go out to one joint, he can resist me bending the finger back. Resist? No, I'm going to bend. You just resist it. You're helping me. I can't bend it back. But if I touch a pressure point here that controls that joint, I can just go like this and put him down on the floor and spread eagle if I want with him. And that's what I tell police. Police departments I train the Chicago Police Department, the Broward County, Florida Police Department, and I tell them when they call me, they say, what can you do? I say, give me the strongest, biggest guy you got. I'll put him down with one finger, one pressure point, and handcuff him. And they go, wow. Now they hear that on the phone, and they naturally want to see it, so now I get invited to get paid. That's how that happens. And then when I went there, they pay me, and I go, I said I could do what? But actually, you just touch right here. You can touch between any of these. In fact, how can you do that in a minute so you feel it? But you just go right in between here, and there's a nerve that controls the knot. While I'm on any one, I can be on any pressure point, is what I'm telling you now. Any single pressure point. And when you're on more than one, it's going to hurt more. if he tries to hit you with that hand will not come at you. In fact, it will actually start behind him to be handcuffed. I mean, it's that simple. And it puts the guy, and the more he tries to hurt you, the more it hurts him. Am I correct?
You're definitely correct.
Yes. So once you enter neurological pain, if he tries to move with that hand, it makes this pain shoot further. You'll feel it in a minute. It's that simple. Just take your fingers and spread them like this. Spread your fingers like that. Take this finger and just go like this. Just go between. Go between. Easy to do. Go between. Got it? Just go between. Now, these fingers represent these bones. Got that? Now, where you went between them, go like that to yourself. Make a hard hand, and you'll feel that that's soft right there. You feel it? Feel a little softness right there? That's the pressure point. Go to this one. That's the pressure point. Go to this one. That's the pressure point. Then there's one here also. The pressure point here controls these two fingers. This one, two fingers. This one, these two fingers. This one, these two fingers. This is the one you probably use the most. This one right here. All you need to do is press straight down. You have a nerve doing this there. To go to that finger and that finger. When you press down, you're straight into it. Got that? So what you're going to do to each other, take one finger. This is a test, not a contest. Take one finger, and then just tell me you're going to bend it back and feel the strength. Give me strength, so that you can't bend it back. You'll say even a joint lock on one finger is a little more difficult if they're really resistant. But then you go right in between where I told you and push down, and this is what will happen to him. It's that easy. It's easy to do. This is a test, so you don't need to create a base. If I want him to be in pain, I would have went to my chest, and I would have broke that finger. If you're really going to put him in a lock, you want to come into here, and then you can just break the finger because it's going to release it. It's that simple. And you snap that finger off and hit him at the same time, and boom! You just take him right out of the fight situation, and you won't have to worry about any combat. So what I want you to do is what you're going to do to each other. Just hold one finger. And again, it's a test, not a contest. And if you're a huge person with a little person, be very careful. The big person, the little person can put a little more power in against a big person. But this big guy and that big guy, you grab one of these kids and do it, you're allowed to break the finger by accident. So you have to really be mild. But just put this right here, hold this finger like that, and then naturally hold the finger, and just press down. Got that? This is the first thing I show police, and then I teach them how to use it to handcuff. And when I grab somebody, I don't just grab their hand. I go between here. I go between here that I know I'm on nerve. So when I grab your hand, I don't just grab your hand. I go, if he's here, I go like this. So I know I'm on the nerve. I put pressure on the nerve. I don't need the result here. When I hit him further up, I'm going to connect the two. That's what we do. So just, right now it's a test. It's not a contest. I want you to hold that like that, go to here like that, and go like that. His knees will bend. His knees bend to actually stop that neurological pain from getting to the major organ. This is a lung meridian pressure point. And if he tried to resist and do this, he would actually then go like this. He would feel the pain shoot into the lungs. It's that simple. You cannot resist. Your body will want to bend the knees, so let them bend. If you want to try not to, you're going to feel the pain go further in your arm. So you can do that too. That's on you. But what happens is, the knees bend to stop the pain from getting to the lung. Your body is aware that we got pain coming here, and he'll bend the knees. In this guy's case, he'll roll on the floor. He'll about do anything to stop it from getting to a major organ. That's your human body. We take advantage of that. When I teach police, it's excellent for that because the guy will drop and roll over into a handcuffing position, all because he's trying to fight this from happening. And then really, if I keep that pain coming here, the other hand will want to come back and join us. The person that's standing, putting the person down, I don't like to see you do this. No good. You keep your back straight. He should be going like that. Got that? You're to be in control. You want to stand erect. If you're going to lower down, and he goes down, I'm really going to lower down and want to keep the person under control and hurt him, I go out to a martial arts stance. That's what the stances are for. If he's really dropped on the floor, I go out to a lower stance. I keep my stance. I keep my position in my back. I don't bend my back. If you bend your back, if he just reaches up and grabs you, he's not going to pull you off balance. Now you're down with him, so you don't want that. You can't be down on the floor with somebody this size or that guy's size. You can't be down there, so you got to control. Next thing you can do to help yourselves, any technique you do, you keep your elbows down. You keep your elbows down. This is your body. You have energy that breaks right in through here. We actually call this wood ocean. If you're studying the pressure points, if you want to hurt somebody more, you do this. I see some of you are trying to do these techniques, you're out like this. You're letting your energy go. You're just using only this strength from up here. That's like somebody out in the street tries to hit you like this. They're only using this section of the body. A good martial artist locks it and throws that punch in direct and uses the full body. If I see an elbow come out like that, you're losing power. Your elbow should touch the body. If I have you up in a technique, and I just get you in a basic finger lock. If he tries to resist, if I want to hurt him more, I just tap my wood ocean and he's going down. I'm just grabbing some energy from my body into this hand, squeezing a little energy in here. So if you're out here, can't do that. Not only that, I probably couldn't control him out there. You got to get it in here. And then anytime you get him in, if you really get him under pain, a little bit of pain pressure, I just let my elbow, I just go to here, and I just let that elbow lock on my own body. And now I can hit him, put him away. Which brings to mind, we don't use elbows in fight situations while they're standing like that. I hate to see martial arts magazines with a guy standing there doing this. And they're throwing elbows at heads. I wouldn't take an elbow and run it at his head. Look how close I am, and if he backs up just a tad, I miss. And they don't use an elbow. Elbows were not meant to be used against the head. Elbows were meant to be used against the arms. It's that simple. Everybody understand that? Against the arms. If you do a qoute, you do this move. If you do a qoute, you do this move, they're to be below your breast. First of all, if you raise your elbow above your breast, your shoulder can be dislocated. If I really got somebody smaller here and got him to elbow one of these big guys like that, he is probably going to dislocate his shoulder for hitting somebody that big and hard. It's that simple. There's an opening right here, a hole that happens on you right here, on everybody in this room. This hole develops. When that dislocates, that will pop into that hole. That's man's weakness. Medical books will tell you that this is the most injured joint in the human body for dislocations. The most. The hardest joint to dislocate in the human body is the elbow. You never see it dislocated in sports, football, nothing. It can be broken, but you don't see it dislocated. You'll see this dislocated. Not this year, but last year in basketball championships, the guy was going up to put the ball in, and the guy went to block him and come down, and his arm was up, and this guy that went to block him by accident caught him right in that hole with that elbow. This guy's arm popped out of the socket, and they took him in the locker room, and he was out the rest of that series, actually. Out the whole rest of that series. Football, I seen one where we were going. The guy went to throw, the guy tackled him, his helmet hit in here. Guess what happened? It popped that way into that hole. You cannot raise your elbow above your patch. If you're doing katas and forms, now if you're a lower rank, you can't go correct your instructor if he's not here. But all kata moves, elbows should be here. It's that simple. If I see somebody do kata and they go like this, I know what's going on, I just don't like it. So if I see you do that, I know you're going to dislocate that elbow if you use that technique, or shoulder. You're going to dislocate it. All the elbows should be in here. When you do these moves in kata and form, you're attacking behind the arm. You're attacking on the arm. The 2, 4, 6, we have a pressure point right here. When a person grabs you, if this guy grabs me with this hand to try to control me, I put a thumb on this pressure point, and I'm going to walk through this. I get in my stance as in the Hanshi Kata, and this will go here, and this will go to here. This is the technique. Now, the kata goes like this. That tells me it's a hit point, and then I'm hitting. I walk through it so you can see, but that's a hit point. I want to hit it with this. He's in pain. Did everybody see the pain? If I'd have hit it harder, I could have injured. He got lightheaded on the technique, am I correct? He got lightheaded, almost passed out, because I did 2 pressure points in a row and sent the pain up the arm further. So I'm just telling you what happened. And if you're on this side, you've certainly got a good view of what happened, and I don't do that too often to people, but when they grab you, you lock with the pressure point you already know, which is a touch point, and then this goes to there. I see some people go and they try to do it like this. He can resist that. He can resist my pressure, but he can't resist this, the tap. So when you have a kata and it goes like this, that's this arm against that one. If it goes like this, it's this arm against that. And you know that there are people out there with videotapes that people are paying money for that tell you to grab the guy around the waist and elbow him in the ribs. First of all, if I grab a guy this size around the waist, unless it's in San Francisco, if I grab this guy around the waist, he's going to beat my head in. Right? He's going to beat my head in. You never do anything to anybody this side when your head's down here, and I'm certainly not going to injure his ribs. He's been eating enough to protect them, baby. So, if you walk through that, I don't want an injury, and you certainly couldn't do it to a littler person. But what you're going to do is you're going to stand sideways, and they're going to grab your arm. I want you to just grab their arm. Now I want you to come to here and give them my arm. If you do that kata, this will make sense. If you don't, then you don't even need to practice it. If I show you movements in the kata, next time you go like this, you're going to go, aha. And then you're going to pair off with somebody. When I do my kata at home, and I go here, I know what I'm doing. Years ago, I did not. I did not. So all this was wasted. It was wasted. But if I do that, I know why I'm hitting. I know I'm below my patch. I know my shoulders are strong. I'm not above my patch. And I'm getting self-defense out of my kata. If I went to the dojo, and I say grab me, which is training hall here, and I go like this, and I go like that, I'm not going to re-hurt him. So I'll just do this light. But if I do that to him, just once even at the dojo, I'm improving my kata at home. My kata at home, I only need to go do it once to him. My kata at home has more meaning. When I'm at home doing my kata and go back to the dojo, I will get better at doing that to him. Trust me. When I go back to my kata will look better because I know why I'm doing the moves. If you go out to a martial arts tournament, a lot of you might have been there, and you watch some people do katas, they all get real serious and yell and ki when they punch and when they kick, because they know what it's for. I had 3 different people from the Orient tell me this. One of them, the first one was Pai Hohan Soken. Next one was Oyata, told me the same story. Sayu Oyata. But he told me, The person in the street don't know any more than the guy in the dojo. You go in the dojo and say, what's this for? He'll go front punch. What's this for? Front kick. What's that for? Side kick. What's this for? The guy in the dojo goes, I don't know. And the guy in the street goes, I don't know. Or what's this for? This is blocking two people. The guy in the street goes, I don't know. You're doing something with two hands. But the guy in the dojo would seem correct. But it's blocking two people. And it's blocking anything. People that think this is a block, I don't know how you do it. I've heard that. I've heard all kinds of excuses. There are some people who have videotapes grabbing somebody around the waist, saying you're elbowing them in the ribs. I don't think so. I don't think so. So punch daylights out. And if you really want to break your inch in that arm, all you need to do is do like the qoute and step away from him so that you stretch him out. The more, if I want to hurt somebody bad, the straighter I can get that arm to that major organ, the more it's going to hurt. I want you to be careful of that. But if I get that arm out like that, straightaway highway nerve pain travels a little faster. Still goes around the corners, but it's just like a race car when it goes around the corners. Has to slow up a little bit. Except here in England on your roundabouts, they seem to speed up. I've never seen that before, but when you enter a roundabout, I guess it's at your own risk. It's like we entered the roundabout, let's let it on. Okay, so when you were doing it, if he grabbed you, you would really want to stretch him out. And then you'd want to come to here. Now you take your hand out of the scenario, take your hand away, it'll look exactly like that technique. So if you do a qoute, for those of you over here, it'll look exactly like that technique. So if you have that in the qoute, you're not elbowing there. If you have this in the qoute, you're not elbowing this head or face. Why would you want to not elbow to somebody? He's standing there. For me to elbow him, that means at some point I have to take my fist and bring it back to here, so that I can get closer to do that. I don't think so. Got that? We elbow below the breast. That's mandatory. If I get him in a technique, he goes to push me, and he goes to push me, and I catch him in a technique, and I take him down to here, now I could use my elbow. Got that? And you're only using that hand because I ain't really going to pay you. If I do this, you're only going to use that hand, and then we're going to hit you up in gallbladder 20 with that elbow. So, and we would use an elbow on the head, but only if we have control of the situation that he's maybe in this range, my hands are tied up, he's on the way to the ground, and now if I clip him here, want to pass out? I just had to do that. Your mind's going, go for it. There's a little devil in this shoulder. Go for it. The angel over here is going, leave him alone. Go for it. Anyway, you just had a George Dillman knockout. Yes, thanks, brilliant. That was brilliant. Anybody else wants fun? We'll just go around doing it to everybody. We're not bashful here. It's all a series of 3 pressure points. We did 1, 2, and I could just bump almost anywhere as long as they connect with the cycle of destruction, and you're going to pass out. If you don't pass out, at the end of my first book, you do this. It's called the technical knockout of boxing. If I just tap you and you go like this, that's what we call a Kyusho Jitsu one. Kyusho Jitsu, my first book. Actually, the word refers to one point, but it also can refer in time, like the Jitsu's fighting. But Kyusho is one touch, 1 second. So it refers to 1 second fighting, 1 point fighting. Some of the pressure points, you only need 1. They're called Kyusho point, because if we touch you, you touch us, we touch you, the ball should be in our court. That doesn't mean you're going to pass out. You still need the 2 or 3 to get you to pass out. Totally, I mean. But just touching like this, once you touch the point, Kyusho point, they'll be like this. If they're like that, you can hit them again if you want, or you can just push them over and get out of the situation. You know, and it can happen so fast. And I explained to BBC television last night, because they were really impressed and somewhat afraid of it. And the producer of the show wasn't sure he believed before the show. After the show, I knocked him out. And they filmed it. They filmed it. Did I not, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, put him out for the count. He knew it. He knew it. In fact, I sat him up and made him film his eyes. His pupils were dilated. If it's a knockout, you look at his pupils now. They're still not back right. Pupils are dilated on a knockout. That all can take place within 1 second. And when the pupils are dilated, they can't see straight, so then they can't fight. First thing a referee looks for in a boxing match, he goes and looks at the eyes. If your pupils are dilated, the fight's over. Because you can't see your opponent. So the fight's over. So basically that's it. That's what we call it, a technical knockout. So if today you go like that, I'm not going to drop you all the way. You don't want to hurt anybody. You want to prove a point. That's what he did to BBC. I hope they show that, because the producer was a young, strong guy. He lifted weights, and he was pretty strong and big, and he thought he was tough. And I had to show him, you know, that you don't pick on this old man. No, he didn't pick him. He was very nice. But he said, I want to feel some of that. So I gave him 1 or 2 of these, and then it just went, and down he went. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. So we did it, and Paul Bowman get up and knocked a bunch of people out. And we're all in tuxedos. That's the good part. Well, I explained to BBC, and I hope they put that in. My humane book is called Humane. And yet when you read it, you'll see there's knockouts in it. It teaches you how to do a knockout, and people go, well, that hurts somebody. No, actually, when I first got into this, people were going, are you going to teach that? Are you going to go public with that? I had my own people in my own school give me a problem. We don't want to show everybody else, because they thought we have the bomb, let's keep it. Why show anybody? But I said, no, you got to show them. That word got to be out there, because I was privileged to get it. Anything happened to me, it wouldn't go any further. It would have died, you would still be blocking and punching, and you wouldn't know about pressure point 1. So I decided not only going to go public, but then I watched. And I watched martial artists and what they were teaching. And I said that to BBC last night, even kids, or women, or whatever, they're going to tell you that if he attacks you, to punch his face. You can break his nose, break his jaw, now we have litigation. You understand what I mean? Kick him in the groin, they're going to teach that. The humane part is, you've all been under some pain today and no one's injured. Average martial artists, if they were really to punch and kick full power, if I'm to punch you in the face full power, we're going to break a bone, maybe break the jaw, maybe break your nose, and then there's going to be litigation. You attack and we knee you in the groin, kick you in the groin, again, it could be litigation. It could be trouble, it could kill the person even by accident. Where with this, you have control of the situation. You can numb somebody's arm, take them out of the fight situation. Immediately. I had children do it already. In fact, years ago, we had a write-up because one of the kids in our martial arts class was being bullied for his lunch money. And all he did was tap the person's arm right here, which numbs the arm. This numbs someone's arm that they can't use it. Well, it paralyzes it in a way. Well, the arm will come back within 20 minutes. So the kid's arm was paralyzed. The teacher came, this kid's crying, he can't use his arm. They get the school nurse, they get the principal, they got everybody in on this one. And here, by the time they got there, 20 minutes went by, and the kid's going, I can't raise my... And they're saying, what's wrong with your arm? Milton. He's looking like this, 20 minutes went by, he got his motion back. And they're going, what did he do to you? Well, he hit my arm. Now the bully looks like a wimp. Did he hit your face, punch you in the face, do anything to you? No, he did something to my arm. You little wimp. Look back in class. But that's how it happens. So this is humane. This is humane. It seems it can be deadly, as I told you earlier. It can be dangerous. You can do what you want to somebody, but you use restraint. I teach police, and they don't kill anybody with it. Excellent ways to disarm people with pressure points. Excellent ways to take knives away with pressure points. Excellent way to just numb somebody that they can't move. videotape H, letter H, or the humane book. We tell you how to do things without injuring the person, and you can numb things all over his body. My videotape H shows you just how to numb the arms. He's standing there and he can't raise them, so he can't attack you. That's my joke. I love this. I dropped the very other football usually. There's one guy over here in England that teaches pressure points, which I don't mind that, but I don't want to teach you pressure. But I hate when they steal my joke. That's serious. That's what I want to say. You know, that's not. But anyway, when they make a muscle, right here where that hole is where you're going to hit. Right in that hole. You're going to just turn around and say, oh, see. But that's a hit point. That's a hit point. You have to be very careful when you hit that one because the radial nerve crosses the bone there. Now, the way I was taught, is the way I still think today, to pretend there's an arrow in that hole out here. That's the angular direction. His arm's this way, hitting it here will do you no good. That pressure point is back here. That's why elbow attacks to this way in a qoute. When you do this, you're not going up after the face of the head or the body. You're actually going after that point. When you elbow that point, this means 50-50 if you want to do damage to him. This means if he moves at me, pushes at me, punches, once I catch that arm and parry it out, that means that this hand wants to pull to that hand to hit that point. If I have that above the patch, now if you're up close, let me turn this way, but you just look right here. I'm not going to dislocate it, but you'll see that it wants to go in that hole. Do you see it? If I really do that technique full on, as meant in the qoute, that arm will pop in that hole. When I first started teaching these techniques back in the early 1980s, the police were hitting people that were against the wall. And I told them, I said, the elbow's above the breast. I told you no elbows above breast for that technique, and they dislocated some arms. And I went back, they had me come back in, I had to reteach the course, and I told you, you never, if you're up here, and if the police dislocate the arm, he has to go to the hospital, they have to put a policeman on guard, and I have inches of paperwork to fill out why I injured him. So they don't want to do that. So you can elbow at that point, but you've got to keep his elbow below his breast, and you practice it in here. This is a hit point that puts him in that position, puts him down, and again he gets a head rush, am I correct? They get lightheaded because I have pressure points right here. This is a triple warmer point. I didn't crank here because I did not want him to pass out on the technique, but if I really get this strong as a lock and do this as in the qoute, I will dislocate it and he'll pass out at the same time. Trust me, I've been there and I've done it to people. But when you do this and you elbow, I let loose here. Got that, guys? So if you want to try it, the pressure point is back here. That point moves. That point can be this way. It can be anywhere around the horn in a fight situation. He could grab you and his elbow could be like that. You know, to muscle you or whatever, and the point is back this way to make it go. Sorry. His elbow could be just a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. I love to show that to police. Just had a man a few years back now, but he used that, tapped with a nightstick, and this guy was going to resist arrest. The average guy that resists arrest goes like this. Give me one of those. Do this. Let me bring that back. Let me bring that back. So the minute I see a wise guy do that, the minute I see a wise guy do this, I just go, ooh, ooh. But there was a guy actually, he happened over in Newark, Delaware, and one of the smaller guys was getting out of the police wagon to come over, and there were 4 cops there, and the guy goes, you're not taking me in, I don't care what you do. This guy walks over and he just takes his nightstick and goes, doink, and the guy goes, oh no! And he went down to the ground. The nightstick hit that. And they handcuffed him and took him in, and they asked him how to do it. He wanted to teach the whole police department how to do that. And that's how they stand like this, they have the nerve stretched. So if they stand like that, oh great. Right here. Look, numb again. So the minute they do this, oh, this is worse. The minute they do this, the nerve is stretched. The nerve is stretched right up. And you just tap. It's dead center, back of the arm. If anybody here has a heart problem on a heart medication, don't let them do this too. Got that? The biggest nerve in the arm crosses the radial nerve crosses the bone. That's what makes that so long. Because it crosses the bone, it's in a valley, but it's exposed in that hole. So that's why I had him make a muscle there, and you'll see that this hole is actually the size of a 50p coin. I could be anywhere in there. Anywhere in there. You do what you want with that, but if you do qoute and form, every time I go like this in the qoute and form, I'm doing that to somebody's arm. I can parry move that hand and just wrap that on you, and if you parry move that hand, which is easy in combat, and you just attack in there, you can dislocate that into there, which means the fight's over. He's probably going to go down, he's going to get dizzy, he's going to pass out if he hit hard enough, and use a two-way action. So I don't want any of that now. What I want you to do is just a mild tap. They'll feel it. If you want them to stand like that, get a little chop, anything you want to do. Don't get too carried away, and don't do it too many times. If you're on heart medication, don't do it. Don't let them do it to you. Just want you to feel that it's a real good point, easy to work. If you do qoute and form and go like that, and then qoute and form, and I won't hit you again, but envision the guy pushing or punching or pushing you, and you're parrying, and you just grab this, and that's what's happening. And in the qoute and form, this means to pull as much as you hit up. That means 50-50. Anytime you do these kind of moves, means pulling to you as you hit it. Pulling to you as you hit it. Even this means pulling to in. Both hands are needed for all these techniques in qoute and forms. And naturally, none of them are blocking. And they're real moves that can be used out there right now. It's that simple. You can be beside somebody, and he can maybe just give you some words, and as you give him one of these, like, hey, buddy, don't do that, but you give him one of these, hey, buddies. Hey, buddy. Now he's set up, and he already knows he's losing that arm. I'm talking in a real situation. And he knows, he ain't going to tell you, but he knows that arm's a little tingly. And you just go, hey, I don't really want to fight you. I want to knock you out. It takes, I tell you, to use restraint. To use restraint. Hold back. Don't work it too much. Point like that, when we do pressure points at my class, we do 15 minutes of it. It doesn't change the way you do the martial arts. You still have to do sparring, you still have to do bag work, kick, moving, whatever you do, doesn't change your style. It adds to it. The only thing we do is we'll teach the qoutes and we'll break them down. And we'll break them down with a real move that will actually work. People didn't want to do qoutes over the years. I got people now learning qoutes all over the world. And some of you only want to learn one qoute because then you can get every meaning to that qoute. So when you go through the qoute, you know what you're doing. The past, we didn't know what we were doing. And then it gives meaning to it, and you can do it with meaning. If you go out to a tournament, you watch people punching and kicking, you see they know that. But you watch them do the odd moves, you see they don't know what they're doing. I had one guy in my school worked out over 100 things to do to the human body on one qoute. And if you know what to do with that qoute, and you can break it down that way, you're now a dangerous person. Jigoro Kano was the guy that started a style called Okinawan Kempo, which was Ryukyu Kempo, which is, he was in my lineage. He just died before I got to meet him, but he only did 3 Nahanchi katas up until World War II. And they said that, they told me that he was the deadliest man to walk the streets of Okinawa, and everybody in the island respected him when he walked down the street. It was that simple. He knew 3 forms. Speaking of that, we were up at the Shaolin Temple, I told you. We walked down the street with the Buddhist monks, and we walked at least 2.5 miles on this walk with him, and cars stopped. Everybody stopped. Cars stopped, bicycles stopped, trolleys stopped, everybody stopped because the Buddhist monk was walking down the street. They all stopped. Well, that's the way it was supposed to do, Jigoro Kano. But he only did the 3 hunches. Now, let me tell you this, and this way it was told to me, it's a true story. He did 3 hunches until World War II. And then after World War II, he was teaching Americans, and they all were to earn money because they just lost property, homes, businesses, farms. And they had to earn some money, so they started teaching martial artists to the very people involved in karate. Do you think they're really going to teach you secrets? No. And actually what he did was he ran over to this guy, and he learned the Pt1 guys from him. And taught him his hunches. Then he ran over this guy, and he learned Basai. And he taught him the hunches. Then he ran over here, and did qoute. That's why so many of the styles do the same cutters, but have them in a different order. They actually do them in the order that they knew and learned them in. That's all that matters. It don't matter there. And that's how that happened. I always had that question. How comes Jigoro Kano starts out by teaching the 3 hunches? While he was teaching the American servicemen and the hunches, he was over learning the Pt1 cutters. You understand that? The guy who knew the Pt1 cutters was teaching them to his people first, while he was learning them the hunches. And they were doing it because the Americans, they just learned cutters, and the Americans didn't care if they had an explanation behind it. They just wanted to look good. Understand how it works? That's how it went. But the moves are hidden in the katas, and every one of them can be used for real self-defense. This is a point that I don't like you to work on too long or hard. If you get, put 2 fingers right here. Excellent point for ladies, primarily, because a woman might be getting manhandled. And you can reach right in under the muscle here with your thumb. In my book, I show you, put the thumb in there. If you grab somebody on that point, let me use your minute. If he grabs me and he wants to strangle me or pull me, what I really do is I put a thumb right here. And I just go in like this, and then that bends the arm in this position. Once I bend the arm in this position, I can do what I want and hit him, and he's gonna hit the floor. All I do is right here. Put the thumb in, go right to here. It's that simple. It looks nice and mild, but he really can't do anything. Can you do anything at this point? No, he can't do a thing at this point. But that is a heart pressure point, and it's a very dangerous one, so I don't want you to do it too long or too much pressure. When I grab somebody by what looks like by the arm, I grab them underneath at that point. I have him on that point right now, so it looks like I'm holding his arm. I teach that to police too, because it looks like the policeman's just grabbing this guy's arm to leave him in the paddy wagon. But he has these fingers come around and go right onto that nerve, and you get him like this. And now if he goes to move at any point, because that's a heart point, and you hit him here, he's going to pass out. I'm not going to do it because he might also throw up. We have 2 heart points in the same arm going to bring violence to him. But we do get him in this position, so anytime we grab the arm, we grab it underneath at that point. Real good point to know, especially for women, because if they grab, they can just put a thumb on that point, and the body goes like this and collapses. I'm going to have you get up. I'm only going to have you do it for about a minute. I just want this. And it can be 1 hand or 2 hand. Oh, let me show something else. Oh, let me show you. Stand up here. In my book, in my 3rd book, I tell you, never go after these points with the tip. This nerve goes through like a shoestring. If I go like that, I'm on this side of the shoestring, that side, this side, that side. Always go in under the muscle and use all of this to come down on the nerve so that you get the shoestring. Do you understand that? If I go in like this, I'm past it. If I go like this, I'm on this side of it. But if I go like this, I'm right on it, and I have control of my person. So what I really do is use the whole pad of this to make sure I get on the nerve. So you don't do go in point first. I get under the muscle. Make a muscle. It's right there. Turn around, show. It's in this hole. No matter how hard you make this muscle, right here it's soft. Turn all the way around and show. It's soft right here. Soft right here. When they reach out to strangle you or grab you, you can just put a thumb right here and the whole body will collapse and want to go down. The bigger and stronger they are, actually, the more it hurts. If they've been on drugs, it's going to hurt them more. If they've been on alcohol, it's going to hurt them more. The only drug that won't affect is PCP. PCP numbs your opponent below the waist. They didn't know that when they did Rodney King. If you've seen that in the video, I'm sure you did, even over here. They were beating and kicking him above the waist. He didn't feel any of that. He was fighting back the whole way, and they were clubbing him, and it would kill the average person what they did. But PCP, we later found out, numbs everything above the waist. None of these pressure points would work on a man of PCP. But if I kick him down here, tread on his foot, or knee him outside the thigh, he'll go down faster than a gun shooting him. And I have testimony from undercover police, New York Police Department, and the one man that discovered that for me, because I don't run into PCP. He was taking my pressure point glasses, and he goes, Sensei, man, we hit him with triple warmer. We hit him on hard too. We did different ones, not the same guy. They come back. And so we had another guy in PCP, and we were whacking him on this point. And none of this seems to work. He actually called me up. He said, I found it. I said, what? He said, I need the guy outside gallbladder 31, which is right here. He said, I just ran a knee to try to turn him. This one not only will drop you, it'll paralyze the leg, but it'll turn the body away. He wanted to just turn the guy away. He needed a gallbladder 31, and the guy just went down and passed out. They handcuffed him. He called me up. I can't believe it. I can't wait till we get the next guy on PCP to see what happens to this guy. He gets the next guy, and he kicks him inside the liver. He just kicks him inside the liver. The guy goes down and is dizzy and everything. They handcuff him. They had a guy, there's a pressure point right here on the foot that we use right here. You see him jumping and doing it. I'm doing it with my toe. If I have a shoe on and try to go down. Well, it would just, the police would just tread right here like that. And the guy would drop if he's on PCP. All the points below the waist. PCP acts like opposite of the guy that's in the wheelchair paralyzed. And PCP numbs everything up here, but everything down here becomes actually twice as active. So they just drop. They get more pain than you would get from that because they're on the PCP drug. Cocaine messes the heart, heroin messes the heart, the head, and alcohol messes with the head. It's that way. People ask about the time of the day. I tell you, look at the waist. Everybody's pressure points from here down are weaker in the morning. Same technique I just did on his foot. If we did it at 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, he would go down. You don't have to be on PCP. Your energy is down here in the morning, below the waist. That's why as you get older, when you get out of bed, your hands feel good, they can move, but your legs move slower. You understand that? A lot of you guys are young, you don't know what I'm talking about. But as you get older, you'll put your legs on the floor and you'll wonder if they're going to work today. That's a true story. And then you walk. That's why Grandpa walks like this. Grandpa, you're doing that for no reason. But that's also why people in China get up and do Tai Chi and stretch their legs at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. First thing I do, the first thing I did this morning was do all my stretches. I stretch down here. If you stretch and keep circulation below the waist, that takes the pressure off the heart so you won't have a heart attack or a stroke early in life. Just takes it away. The hardest job that your heart has is supplying blood to your feet. Getting blood from here and pumping and getting everything down through these thighs and these calves to your feet. So the biggest thing you can do for your health, and I actually learned that way back in Hohan Soken, and it doesn't have to be formal Tai Chi. Tai Chi is nothing but form in slow motion. All you have to do is massage your feet every morning and do a mild stretch every morning. I have a series that I do as a stretch, and I do like a Chinese sit-up, it's called. So you get the shape of a U and hold, and then I keep everything ready to go down here. So that's what you need to do. But your energy is down here in the morning is weak. So you've got to help enhance it. So that the heart.
I'm guessing we never had that, so a lot of breathing.
Yeah, breathing.
Yeah.
Oh. Actually, Sunshine has breathing. Do you do that, Cotton? Yeah. How many people do breathing, Cotton? How many people? Stand up. Stand up. Sunshine. Hangetsu. Any kind where. How many do that? Okay. You know why? Come on out here, Mr. Volunteer. I'm going to break away from that heart point for a minute just to give that nerve a rest on the back of the arm. And we'll do this and we'll jump back into the heart. Because we were tapping back here, I don't want to jump right to that one. We'll give that a little break. And everybody, if you haven't done the breathing, You've seen people do the breathing, am I right? And you wonder what you're doing it for. Am I right? Have you seen people do it? And you thought, what's that goofy stuff about? Am I right? You probably do it. Just do any move. Just give me a left. Oh! No, go ahead. Go ahead. You even did it correct. You did it correct. You breathed in. You breathed in. You breathed out. Would you like to know why? Bet you would. I wish I did. At the time, it didn't sink in, but I was sitting, I like to drop names, but I was really good friends with Bruce Lee, and my instructor was Daniel K. Pai, a Chinese man who was also with Bruce Lee, and Ed Parker was a friend of mine. Back in the 60s, I was privileged to sit at a table with Bruce Lee and Danny Pai, and they were talking about when to hit a guy, whether we breathe in or breathe out. And I was naturally a lower black belt, and I'm listening to this, and it sank in, but it didn't come to me later until I really got involved, and then I was doing the qoute, and I was told about the energy and the cycle of destruction and how it worked. That conversation came back alive. Bruce Lee actually knew what he was talking about, when to breathe, when not to breathe. And then if you breathe at the wrong time, you make your opponent stronger. You got that? Now what we're going to do is a good test. But when you have your opponent, and I'm going to do all fingers, because it's almost impossible. Now, one of these big giants, it's almost impossible to put somebody down with all fingers. If I try to put him down with all, Jiu-Jitsu has a rule of thumb. If you got one finger, he goes down. Two or more, he does not go down because you can resist. You cannot put him down with two or more if he's fighting you. But two or more, Jiu-Jitsu pivots the hand up, and then you put him down. So that's what it's about. In rule of thumb for Jiu-Jitsu, one finger, he goes down. Two or more, you cannot put him down. But let's use them all. I like to use them all because I can't break them all. If I do what I'm going to do now with one, it will break. It's that simple. I get you here. When I breathe out, that's what you did, you're going to get stronger. Do I want my opponent stronger? No. I get stronger too. When I breathe in, I make my opponent weaker. I strip his yin energy for just a second. So, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to breathe out, and you lock and resist me. And when I breathe out, like you did, you're going to feel you get stronger. I'm going to get stronger too, but so are you. Resist. You went and breathed in. Then you breathed out. If I catch you and I breathe in, I strip your energy. Everybody understand? You resist me. There's the move you pull to the head. I would breathe out and punch you. You're going to get stronger, but I want you to be stronger. Tense your pressure points because I'm going to be stronger. When I hit you, it's going to hurt you more. You're going to do this to each other. Does everybody understand that? You're going to get the guy like this. He's going to resist. And then I want you to, you're going to like step in and mean it, a good stance. And you breathe in. And then you would breathe out. And I trap him with my knee, and I would hit him. Everybody can do this to everybody here. Only thing you've got to do is take a hold. If I breathe out, feel the strength? Oh, isn't that awful? Should I hit him thumbs up or thumbs down? You don't have any friends, do you? They all want to see you go down. Anyway, that's why they do this. Some of you are doing it near correct, and then some of you, ask me, I move in, I'll tell you about that. If you really want to hurt it. The only thing you have to do is when you do it correctly, is watch, you don't do it back in the dojo during a normal technique. you will injure. You understand? If you're in Leon J's seminar and you're doing a one-finger takedown and you breathe in, you're going to break that finger. That's what this was meant for. That's why the Sanchin kata is usually like up in the middle of the katas, so that when you learn what the katas were for, which you never learned, and when you learn what they're for, then you would learn how to hurt the person with it. And that the breathing is just one of the ways to hurt the person with the kata. And you don't even have to do the breathing kata, but you all breathe sitting here. Is you got to know what it's about. And then that will enhance your martial arts. If you remember. Now naturally, if you do this kind of a kata, you'll do out of your remember. If you don't do that kind of kata, a lot of times I communicate with people with the kata. A lot of times I've been in the Orient and communicated with me with the kata. I learned a couple things about my kata sitting at a table having sushi or whatever, and the guy would say, well, this move on the kata, do you know it's this, this, and this? And I go, well, not really, and he'd explain it. I just learned it. If you know the move, and you do the move correctly, you show me a move you do correctly in a kata, and then I show you the meaning, you go out here doing it. Especially if you've been doing the kata for years. That's what it's about. People are running out there doing all these katas, dropping to their knee, doing breathing, jumping all over the place, and they don't know why. And you ask them why, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue.
George, is there a way to counteract that?
The what?
Is there a way to counteract that?
Yes, I could explain that. Yes, you can do opposite breathing and countering. But usually no. I want to tell you no. In a test you can counteract it. But if I grab you with one finger, you don't know till I've done the, you're down, that finger's broke. So no, you're not going to stand there and counteract it. The idea with some of the Kyusho points is you can counter them. You can, we use sound, you can counter the sound. If you know the opposite sound. If you do the breathing, you can counter it with the opposite breathing. So he can do the opposite breathing that I'm doing, and he'd counter it. But in a real situation, and nobody in the street has an idea anyway, because you people didn't know. The karate people didn't know. But the thing is, you cannot counter Kyusho points. People go, yes, you can counter it. In a test in the dojo, you can counter it. You got that? But if we're facing each other, you can turn points off. I teach people how to turn points off, that I can't do anything to it. So I'll tell you, I'm going to hit you here. You turn the point off, I hit you nothing. You turn it off. You turn it off. You can move it. But when we're standing there facing, you got 361 points. You cannot turn it off till I get from here to you. Or you to him even, if you're doing it. You can't do it. And then a lot of the techniques are to be done when you're in control of the situation. I'm in control. I don't just do the breathing. He went to push me. He's a big person. He went to push me. I got him, and I realized he's big and strong. I need something additional here. That's when we do it. And then we just do it. I mean, till I do the breathing, he won't have time to muster up a counter, even if he'd been to a class and learn it. You can't. We've tested that on the dojo. My students know it, I know it. They get me in a hole. Till they get me in a hole to do it, I'm going down. Me too, everybody. You can't counter as fast as it's going to be done. I mean, in reality you can, but in a real fight, no, you can't. You can't do it. Just playing around with it. If I tell you I'm going to breathe in, you breathe out, we're going to counter. Then I'm going to breathe this way, you're going to, what are you going to do when I step up? You just grab me in it. And actually, that's meant to really injure people. I'm going to tell you the way it's told to me at a table sitting in Japan with sushi, that you're to actually get somebody in a stand up there. You're to have somebody not only in a combat situation, but you're to have them in a neck break. And if I'm going to go like that, and I do the breathing now, I'm going to break his neck. It was just told to me sitting at a table, I didn't have to have anybody by the head to understand it. But they said you close in, take the point out, you grab the head. Any resistance, suck air in, you just break his neck. And like I told you, at normal, back in the dojo, if I get somebody in a one-finger lock, one finger I can hurt him and put him down as it is. But if I do one finger now I breathe in, I'm going to break the finger. If I get him in a lock, push, and I get him in a lock here, and I decide to breathe in and snap this, I'm going to break the arm. If I naturally had you in the head hold, and went like this to yank that neck and hit, if I breathed in as I did that, I'm going to break the neck, and I'm probably going to kill that individual. So I mean, that's what it's used for. It's used for a real situation when you need a little bit more. You got a guy a little bit bigger and stronger. And I taught that today because we have littler people here. We have some kids here, some women here. The breathing will enhance their technique, any technique they learn. What this has to do and deal with is your aura. Your aura. You have an aura around you. Your aura holds you together. You're held together by sound and vibration. That's why we can use sound, ki-jitsu, to mess up your aura. It exists. Breathing messes up your aura. You have an aura that holds you together. It is 2 feet away. The way it was told to me, nobody invented brilliant phenomenon. There is none. What you see is the heat the body gives off of brilliant phenomenon. The same heat when you watch a rugby game or a football game when it's cold in the winter and you see steam coming off the body. That's not their aura. Their aura is out 2 feet. You can feel the aura if you're aware. Okay? If you're aware. Should I teach you how to do that? Okay. What you do, everybody just take a hand and shake it out here. Shake it out. Okay. Now, what do you use? Just stand there. Just stand there. No, just go right here. Just stand normal. One person going to stand normal. You're going to have to be a little aware. The air will change temperature inside this aura. And I don't care how hot the room is. I don't care if the door's open or it's cold. It doesn't matter. His aura will have a different temperature. I've done this in rooms where it's 100 degrees in a room, and you're still going to feel a heat change when you get in the aura. If he's hot and sweaty, it's a little hotter in that aura. Always. If he's not, he's got a problem. If he's got heat in one area, he's got a problem with that organ. I have felt people, and I said, actually, I've told some people, I think you have a liver problem or a kidney problem. You better go see an acupuncturist because I feel excessive heat in that area. If it's really hot in one area, if somebody has a headache, that's when to test it. Because up around the head, it'll be hotter than that elsewhere. His aura is shaped exactly like him, only 2 feet, about 2 feet out here. You're going to get your guy up, you're going to go like this, shake your hand, and now don't everybody shake the hand, feel the air. No matter what the temperature is, that air will feel, just feel the air. The air will feel cool. Am I correct? Yes. Feel the coolness of the air. That's what you're feeling, the coolness. Now what I have you to do to feel the aura is you're going to come like this, and you'll feel the same coolness. And redo this, so you keep it cool. Actually, right here. Right there. It's hotter in the front of my hand than the back of my hand. Now, don't just go like this and window his aura, and you won't feel it. You got to go here. You got to go here. Actually, if he's aware, he feels me ever. He feels like he's right here. You feel like somebody's pushing against you a little bit? Yeah. He feels me ever. That's why when somebody comes up behind you, you know they're there. They've entered into your aura. Their aura went into your aura. And you feel that. And he will feel it. I feel the aura here. Now, I need somebody, let me use you. Yeah, you go. Shake your hand. Shake your hand. Shake your hand. Now, I want you to go like this. Real slow, real slow. Tell me what you think you feel. It's warmer, right? It's warmer. There'll be a resistance. There'll be a resistance like there's cotton candy. There'll be, actually, if you're aware, his aura will be trying to push your hand back. So don't tense your hand. If your hand's loose, his aura will not run it in there. So this will like involuntarily happen to your hand. Not much, but you'll feel a resistance to your own hand. Feel it? Now come back a little. And the hand feels cool. Now, okay, you can sit down. You're going to do this to each other. If we were doing it up in the head, you'll get in closer. His aura is 2 feet from the whole body. So when you're in at the neck, it will be an index. This is right here. I'm in it right there. I can feel the heat. You feel the heat here. I can definitely feel it here. You feel it in the head? Yeah. Can be repaired, and I'll just give you this real quick. If you are getting a sore throat, if you have a pain somewhere, an injury, if you have a kidney problem, liver problem, they actually do picking the aura. If I'm getting a cold or a sore throat, I get rid of it in half the time, less than half the time in a day. I actually go outside. I don't say anything, but if you're getting a sore throat, voice is hoarse, you actually go out, and I don't want everybody to do that here, you actually go out, you'll feel your aura that is hotter in the area where you're sick. You'll feel the difference in heat within that. It'll be warmer here, but it'll be hot wherever you're ill. And you actually go out, I injured my knee, and I just was picking at the aura for days. And the knee's back now. I have it back in action. I repair it. You actually just go outside and get nice, good chi energy. Good if you get it by water, a hardwood tree. And you actually just do this as if you're taking away the bad. And you step away from it. Step away from it and pick away the bad heat of that aura. And come over to here and go like this and fill it in with energy from the trees and branches, the river, and the stream. Do what you want with that bit of information, but I use it all the time. And anybody that comes to me uses it. You can repair and make yourself feel better. Even if you are down with the cold and the flu, you're going to see that you'll feel better within an hour or two after doing that. You still might have it running through and draining, but you're going to see you feel better. You're not going to be really drained and sick from it. You're going to get rid of it. You're going to pick it out. And it's called picking the aura. Now, what I'm going to tell you is you can mess with the aura, and I'm going to have you do that. And you can do it with the breathing, which I don't want you to do. And you can do it with sound and hurt the person. And then some of you here could counter some of these techniques, but remember we have the sound, we have the stance, we have a whole bunch of things. You're not going to counter the whole element. And in a fight situation, you don't know what's coming. Here, everybody knows what everybody's doing to everybody, and it's human nature to try to want to counter. So I don't care. So if I see you counter, we just throw in something you don't know what's going on, then you don't counter. So that's how that happens. And then again, I told you don't do the breathing on this unless you have the guy in a one finger or a normal hold. We don't just do this as we do it as a test, and it's not a contest. But like I said, if you have somebody in the neck hold, and you do that, you're going to break his neck. You have somebody in a finger lock or any good hold that you're training back to the dojo, you have to watch when you throw in the breathing, you don't injure because of the breathing. Same thing with the aura. What I'm going to have you do is, let me use you again. You're huge. We're going to take all 4 fingers. And you're going to put him down and resist. You're really going to resist. He's a resist. Now what I want you to do, now naturally he puts his hand up here, you're going to have difficulty. Get right in this range because it's a test. And you're going to try to put him down. I'm not going to use the breathing. We're not going to do the sunchin. You know that works. And I don't want you to put the 2 together. What I want you to do, resist me, and you know this guy has an aura. You kick a hole in his aura and he will sink into it. A lot of kicks that are in katas, and actually that hurt him more than the breathing one. Am I correct? Yes. I just thought I'd tell you, a new person. you're going to mess with his aura. Remember, it holds him together. When I throw a kick, it's got to be a quick kick. You do not, what I'm telling you is now you don't have to kick the guy. The aura is out 2 feet. We actually got this on a fight film. I have a guy in the States, a lot of these people know, Sterling Johnson. Sterling Johnson goes with me to a lot of seminars. He used to be a kickboxer. This brought about question way back when we first got into pressure points, because when he was kickboxing, he won a lot of fights. Really good kickboxer, hits hard. But he would hit people with a ridge hand. And he would hit people with a ridge hand and take them out, and the head would go this way with the impact. If I went around the room and hit 10 people, 10 people's heads would all go that way. If I hit you, I'm just showing. But he actually has a film of one of his fights. And he called me up, he says, I gotta show you this. You know we're doing that aura? You punch a hole in the aura. Actually, he was in a kickbox, now the guy's kickboxing, and he's kickboxing, fight, full contact fight in the ring. But Sterling Johnson actually went to hit the guy with the ridge hand, and the guy took his head out of the way, and he missed. But Sterling just quick hit him, and the guy's head didn't go that way, it fell into the hole he created. That led us to study that, because we just did a thing a couple years back down in North Carolina, where we were throwing, so you experiment with this back in the dojo. We were throwing roundhouse kicks in the aura here. When you drop the guy, he goes into that hole. When you throw one over here, he goes into that hole. So you play with this when you have more time. If I get you here, and I kick here, he's going to head that way. When I get him here, and kick there, he's going to head that way. And I'm guiding him a little bit, but watch what leg goes down first. That leg's going to drop first and fastest. Now the one that hurts, and I want you to watch this because it's like a groin movement. When you kick between his legs and do it quick, you've made a hole in the aura. You're going to do it to each other. You're going to see he drops into it. When he drops into the aura, that one hurts more because it comes up at the testicles. When you mess with the aura, it fills in. But when you take the hole out and hit, it doesn't fill in. If I were to hit him, I would get a good punch, let's say. But if I actually did this and hit him, he's going to go down, out, and probably break the jaw. I have created a hole in the aura where I'm going to strike. And you'll feel it in a minute. You test it back at your dojo. Watch testing it because it's a little more dangerous than it looks. It hurts, doesn't it hurt? It hurts more than just putting you down with the sound or putting you down with the sound you're breathing. You're making a hole that he's going to fall into. Like going out here and all of a sudden you were running and there's a hole in the grass that you didn't know was there, and you're going to go down and break an ankle. So you have to watch that doesn't happen here. You're going to do no sound, no breathing. You're just going to take this, try to put the guy down, and then you're going to whip a kick. Did you hear the oh? And I didn't do anything here. Did that not hurt? I want you to be careful with it. The further you kick, if the guy has the feet apart, just even a tad, and thinks he's a fighter, whatever, does this, and you kick in and come out the other side and back, you pull some of his ass end aura this way, he goes ass end backwards, and actually it hurts. That's why I left him go, because you're liable to break a leg or an ankle or dislocate something, so you have to watch that. But if you really have somebody and you throw a kick in between and come back out, at the same time you put pressure, he goes ass end backwards. If you roundhouse kick over here, he starts going into the hole over here. You roundhouse kick, we did all the tests, so you run those tests at your dojo. We don't have enough time to do all that today, but I'm going to have you test this, you'll feel it. Everybody's going to get up and go like this. Look away, like ho, ho, hum. Get out of his aura. Keep your aura and his aura apart if you want. If you want to move in, that's good. Oh, people ask me about the breathing. I'm glad you brought it up, why I did the breathing. When I did the breathing, I actually had you breathing, but I actually, when I breathed in, that's why Sun Chin breathes deep. And gets to, they breathe in. You actually want to suck that hole that we're now kicking in. Does everyone understand that? It's not just the breathing in. Where I breathe in, if I want him to go over here, resist me, I just go, and I can throw him into you. If I do it over here, he can resist going that way, but if I go, I can throw him over that way. If I want to step in and do Sun Chin, I am actually going, I'm taking and putting a hole in the aura with the breathing, and then going to feed it back at him and hit it. Oh, and I just learned in China, the Buddhist monks walk this way, and they breathe in and they breathe down, so that they bring their own chi energy and build their own aura with their own chi to strengthen them for a long life. Do what you want with that. But now when I do my breathing, I don't do so much of this out this way. They actually keep their breath in their aura so that they're filling their aura with their own chi. And it makes them a stronger person, but it makes them a healthier person. That's what I got when I was with the head Buddhist monk. Got a couple other things I haven't let out yet. Get surprises you wouldn't believe. But I wouldn't get in that door if I didn't know what I know. Actually, the head Buddhist monk sat down with me and some of my students. And he said he was amazed at what we're doing with forms. And it doesn't have to be Wushu forms. It's just qoute forms. And he actually pointed at one of my students. Those of you who know Shoban, she was sitting there. He pointed to Shoban. He says, many Americans come over here. And he said they do beautiful form, but they do form with no meaning. He said, it makes me feel good that you have all this meaning to do these forms. He said, look, he pointed to my girl. He says, look in the schoolyard. Thousands of kids are doing form with no meaning. What they taught us after World War II was the children's version. And it teaches the meaning behind the forms. What I want you to do now, lock. And by the way, I love to use this in a self-defense technique. Like I said, we don't have enough time and I don't want anybody injured. But if I have a class at my dojo, I would tell this guy to push me. And when he pushes me, I would either do the breathing or I'd kick a hole in his aura and drop him. So it all fits in for self-defense. Take somebody and get him in any kind of a hole. If I get him in a hole and kick a hole in that aura, I'm not going to do it because this will drop him and it'll break his ribs. If I had him in a head hole, we can use this thing. I mean, you get the idea, but be careful when you use it. What I want you to do now, it's a test, not a contest. Hold him like that, no breathing. Look away. Ho, ho, hum. in qoute in every situation. Somebody's doing this, pushing you, shoving you, putting a fist in your face. A big, strong person grabs you. If you really need extra strength, you little people, if you pull this up as you strike, I don't want to do this really going to hurt you, but this is what would happen. That's why the moves go this way. Then this comes down and re-hits the arm as that attacks either triple warmer 17 or it would attack up the eye. I do it with the fist, or you can do it with this. So if he grabs, the move can come here, and then just, oh, get him. Oh, it's nice. Back. Say hello to me. To me. Yeah, that's it. Say hello to me. Those kind of techniques will hurt more because you're not only stretching the nerve as you pull up, but it's coming up to a head-on collision. You understand that? So I just thought I'd show you a little people. If you do moves like this in the kata, you got somebody big that grabs you, and you're pulling their arm up as you hit it down. That's why. No, we ain't gonna do anything. I want you to just put a finger. I'm gonna put you on a finger. Okay? I want you to put your finger right here for me. I want you to put your finger right here. The middle finger right there. Now don't press hard. And I just want you. You're gonna go like this, and you'll feel a little nerve there. You feel it? Okay. Here, you come here. Yeah, you, anybody, I don't care who. You know, I'm just going to let you feel the pressure point, the nerve. See this finger? You see that little mark right there? That's the pressure point. Put your finger right there. You feel it? That's one pressure point. That's two pressure points. Third pressure point. I missed. Well, no, that'll show it don't work. Good. That'll work. Whoa, 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 whoa. I actually missed. Their fingers were in the way, but that shows it doesn't work if you ain't on the point. No, that's good too, actually. That worked out good. But when I hit on the point, out he went. One pressure point, and thanks for helping me. You people actually knocked him out. Shame on you. Take a minute. If you live around here, have a dojo, you want to get Paul Bowman in for a seminar. And he will work with you on what you're doing. If you're studying my videotapes, have my books, and you get called in and he just works with you and helps you, you will pick this up. It's so easy. If you do forms, you'll know what your form is for. If you don't do forms, you'll know where to hit people. Back to ball.
Okay, put down the strangle, say, for instance, you put it up against the wall or whatever. Just cut back into these. And you now here, and then...
That's the first I've seen that. Sorry, I love that. You might see that again. He kicked him in the kidney. Did you see that? I know. It's beautiful. Wow. He stole from the aura, if you didn't remember that, and then hit him into it. And if he'd have done that way faster, the guy would be out deeper and longer. He grabbed away from that oar and just hit him into the hole in the oar. I think that's great.
Okay, it's a little bit taller than me, so I'm cutting in.
Oh! Pupils are dilated. That's the first thing you look for in boxing. Pupils are dilated, you can't see. If you can't see, the fight's over. We did this for BBC TV, and they just couldn't believe it. And the
Okay, this takes a little bit more. I'm going to touch it. He's going to touch me.
That's better than the kid.
Didn't touch it.
No, I know. Get away from me. Don't even wave.